Good morning, I'm Mark Kilo Delta 7 Delta Tango Sierra, and I'm from SOTA Plus, where we cover summits on the air and other miscellaneous things that happen on mountaintops. Today, that is coffee. I love caffeine, and I love it in beautiful places. But how do you get good coffee? We're not gonna use any of that stuff out of packets. We're gonna make real coffee right here on a mountaintop. First thing you need, water. Coffee is mostly water, so I always bring up a generous water bag. I tend to carry a lightweight insulated cup. There's ways to cut down on weight even further with collapsible cups, but I'm not Adam Kimberly. I'm not that crazy. And then this is my entire coffee set. It is lighter than a QMX radio. It is about the same size as a standard cup. And you might think to yourself, surely, Mark, you can't fit a stove and coffee and a brewer and fuel all into that one little canister, but you'd be wrong because I definitely can. So I'm gonna go through this step by step, and I hope you enjoy. And more than that, I hope you make yourself some coffee. First thing I just pulled out of here, this is a reusable brewer from GSI Outdoors. I like these things because they're very, very light, they're relatively cheap, and they make coffee. They also conveniently fit against the pot lid of my titanium cup, which means that I don't have to worry about breaking it when I'm on the trail. The brewer just snaps on like that to the lid of any standard cup. There are many cups like it, but this one is mine. So there's my brewer. It's gonna be a little bit unstable in the wind, so I'm blocking the wind with my body right now. I also set up here so this rock is going to act like a windscreen because I don't want the wind preventing my coffee water from getting hot as quickly as possible. Next thing in my pot of goodies is some pre-ground coffee. Now, this is a compromise. You can, of course, always bring up a burr grinder and do this on the summit. I do that sometimes, but this is going to make life easy, and I only ground it an hour ago, so it's still going to be in good shape. Pick your beans of choice. Mine right now are a custom batch straight from the rarefied halls of Costco. Still good though. And critically, any cheap coffee freshly brewed is still going to be better than expensive coffee that's been stale or help you those packets from Starbucks. Next up, I got myself a lighter. It's got a little glow indicator so I can see in sunlight if this thing's actually running. And I don't like to throw things in the trash, so this is a refillable lighter. I've been using this thing for almost a decade. It's Old Faithful. Next up, fuel packs. I bring two because two is one is none. Always have redundancy in your coffee projects. This is a little solid fuel tablet from Esbit. They are reasonably cheap. You can get them on Amazon or a variety of other sources, and they keep forever. Only major downside, and you can't tell this on video, they do smell terrible. So when you're doing this, not only am I blocking the wind is blocking the smell from getting back to me. So it's all very carefully situated here. And then inside of here, I need a way to burn that fuel tablet safely. So this is a little titanium stove. These things are dirt cheap. They're extremely light and they work great. Now you might say that putting a stove directly on consumable fuel in California is not a great idea. And so I don't do that. I make sure to bring a windscreen with me. So this is a little reflective windscreen. The nice thing about this is when you put it underneath the stove, it prevents the flame from getting to the ground, and then you can wrap that aluminum foil around the sides of the cup while it heats up. Next up, I'm gonna pop open an Esbit tablet. They are sealed in foil to prevent you from inhaling the wonderful stench of Esbit. So that goes right there. And I'm gonna put this into my trash pocket of my pants. I love that these pants have a trash pocket. It's where all my trail consumables go. Anytime you carry something into the wilderness, please, please, please carry it back out and leave no trace. It is important for all of us to be stewards of our public lands. This public service announcement brought to you by my annoyance at seeing trash on the trail when other people get it wrong and the gratitude that I feel when I get to see a trail that has no trash on it. So thank you for everybody who does that maintenance for all of us. And I'm gonna do about maybe, say, 2/3 of a cup. That's a good number. I have plenty of water left over that I can use for other stuff. Now, let's see if we can get this Esbit tablet to light. This is a bit of a finicky process, and it does take a bit of heat to get these things to really catch, and you don't want them in the wind. So that's where having a really good lighter, something that can put out a solid flame, is very helpful. And telling if they've lit is also not 100% trivial sometimes in the sun. The easiest way to tell is if you've accidentally burned a few hairs off one of your fingers. That usually means you've got fire. All right, I'm starting to feel some heat. Ooh, yep, that's on. Smells like burning hair. If you don't like my safety methods, leave it in the comments. I'm gonna set that water on there, and then I'm gonna keep the heat in by wrapping this foil around, and I've angled the foil towards the wind to maximize the keep out of that wind. And then I've left in some vents so it can suck in hot air and then sort of vent it out like a chimney. So that usually works pretty well. Your mileage may vary. And then you will always boil water faster if you put a lid on top, because lids prevent convective cooling. And there's 3 ways to lose heat: conduction, convection, and radiation. The stove is mostly isolating the pot from the ground, so that's cutting off conduction, where you directly transfer heat through a material. Radiation, of course, is when things get hot, they give off infrared. That infrared takes heat with it, and so you lose heat that way. That's not really a dominant cooling mechanism. Here on Earth, in the atmosphere, the dominant mechanism is really by convective cooling, where the air picks up the heat and carries it away. So putting on a lid prevents that heat loss and maximizes your boiling efficiency. So now we wait. Oop. Coffee is boiling, so we are going to put out this fire and start making the coffee. All right, peel that back. How'd we do here? Yeah. Still got enough fuel for a rewarm if I need it. And now, the most exciting part of the day. It's time to put coffee into this thing and do some pour over. I'm gonna save a little bit. That should be enough for a quite strong cup. I like my coffee black, I like it strong, and I like it regularly. Now that we have the hot water, we got the grounds. Just gonna set that lid there and start doing a little bit of a pour. Now, I like to let the coffee grounds sit for a minute before I fully commit to this. That sort of lets them breathe if there's any trapped gases in there, wets them, gets them ready to really release the juicy bean juice that you want. And it gives you a chance to meditate on the beauty that is life, radio, and coffee. Smells like victory. Let's get the rest of this water in there. And generally speaking, I like to do just sort of a nice slow pour into the middle of the grounds. There was a scientific study on this that showed that a nice slow pour into the middle of the grounds is actually about as effective as trying to do anything fancy with your pour pattern.
Are you filming?
I am filming.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you want to learn what I'm doing?
Yes.
You've heard of ham radio, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. I've got a handheld with me. This is from Japan. It does FM. And the Japanese ones are kind of expensive, and sometimes you just want to do beeps with friends. So this is a $25 Chinese radio off Amazon. And the thing that makes this one special, I can send Morse code.
Wow.
But yeah, just making coffee and filming a how-to video. There is an ARRL Teachers Institute fundraiser this coming Saturday. And they provide instruction for kids to help them learn science, technology, radio, and build careers to generate American ingenuity right here at home.
That's amazing. Good for you.
And it takes money to do that. So a whole bunch of YouTubers have teamed up to work with the teachers from the Institute to make a very educational, entertaining live cast that's about 6 hours long, hosted by Josh from Ham Radio Crash Course. And through that live cast, we're hoping to raise some money. Last year was $40,000 to help
Impressive.
kids build a career.
That's amazing. Good.
And my segment, I'm one of the speakers, is going to be how to make coffee to support your radio addiction.
Amazing. All right, so dig down deep. This is the time of giving. Take care of my friend here and make it happen.
You heard the man. Make coffee and also support those teachers. One thing to note is when you use these Esbit tablets, they do leave a little bit of residue on the bottom of the pot. So that's why I like to carry a case so that that residue doesn't get transferred to my backpack. So you saw my orange bag earlier. That keeps the goo off of my stuff. Then I just wash it off in the sink when I get home. So stash the stove back in there. This guy comes off of here. I'm gonna let this drip dry for a minute, and then we are going to safely stash those grounds into a trash bag and take them home because we leave no trace here on the channel. And there we go. That is a fresh cup of hot coffee to support my radio activities.
Gorgeous day. My name is Rick.
Mark.
And what's your channel so we can find you?
SOTA Plus.
SODA.
SOTA.
SOTA.
Summits on the Air.
Okay.
Ah, sweet, sweet Summit coffee while I wait for the chasers to come back. Freshly brewed, hot, flavorful. Definitely not straight out of a packet. This is good.